Capitalism is a failed system, and we need to move past it. Sure, it has driven unprecedented economic growth, technological innovation, and material prosperity for many people over many generations. But it has extreme downsides: environmental degradation, economic inequality, and the relentless pressure to consume more and more. We are now in what many people believe to be the late stage of capitalism, a period defined by these problems.
Oh, I like money.
As we look towards the future, many, including myself, are beginning to ask, what comes next? Welcome to Future Unfolded. Today we're delving into the transition towards a post-capitalist society. We'll explore what late-stage capitalism is, what post-capitalism might look like, and how we might get there. We'll look at portrayals of post-capitalism in the media, discuss the potential of universal basic income, and consider what it might mean for capitalism to end. Our journey today isn't about doom and gloom, but hope. Hope for a more equitable, sustainable future where the wealth and benefits of society are shared by all. This isn't a political video or focused on any single country. We as a global society need to take a moment to reflect on what we want our future to be like and actively participate in working towards it. So let's begin. To understand where we might be heading, we first need to grasp where we are now. We're living in what many economists and sociologists refer to as late-stage capitalism. But what does that mean? Werner Sombart, a German economist, was the first to use the term in print in the early 20th century. But more commonly, people use the term to highlight when capitalism's built-in inequality and exploitation reach a potential tipping point. A point where growing income inequality, increased corporate influence in politics, and the prioritization of profits at the expense of societal and environmental well-being reduces the quality of life of the masses. In late-stage capitalism, we see the commodification of nearly every aspect of life. If you would like to learn more about late-stage capitalism, and specifically its effects on the world, I highly recommend /r/latestagecapitalism on Reddit, where there are links to many interesting articles, as well as people coming together to express themselves in hopes of finding like-minded people. I think we can all agree that capitalism has led to significant disparities, but just how big is the gap between us and the richest of us? Well, the richest 1% now own more than twice as much wealth as the rest of humanity combined. Let that sink in. If all of the world's wealth was just $100 and there were only 100 people in the world, the richest one person would have $66 and the rest would share $34. And this isn't improving. Oxfam reports that nearly 2/3 of all new wealth created since 2020 has gone to the richest 1%. And these inequalities aren't only financial. There are social and environmental costs too, which are often borne by those least equipped to handle them. I feel like most of us agree that climate change exists, housing costs are out of control in many areas, food insecurity is getting worse, and for-profit education is creating barriers to success. These are all examples of how the current system makes it more difficult for the masses. So if this is where we are today, what might a post-capitalist society look like? Well, fiction and fantasy movies, books, games, and more have always been platforms to explore new ideas and imagine different futures. And when it comes to post-capitalism, there are some fascinating examples. Take, for instance, the world of Star Trek. I grew up on Star Trek: The Next Generation and really loved their portrayal of what is essentially a post-capitalist society.
You see, money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
In this universe, humanity has typically moved beyond money. Advanced technology and inexpensive renewable energy has allowed for material scarcity to become a thing of the past, and our focus has turned towards exploration and personal growth. Or consider the Culture series of books by Ian M. Banks. In this universe, advanced artificial intelligence and technology handle most tasks, leaving individuals free to pursue their interests. Or let's take a journey to the twin planets of Urus and Anaris, the setting of Ursula K. Le Guin's seminal novel, The Dispossessed. Le Guin creates a compelling contrast between two very different societies. Urus is a world much like our own, with capitalist and authoritarian states, wealth inequality, and environmental degradation. Meanwhile, Anaris represents a vision of a worker, self-managed world. It's a society without centralized government, where resources are shared and work is chosen based on ability and interests. While not without its own challenges, Anaris provides a provocative vision of a society that has moved beyond both capitalism and authoritarianism, pointing towards a potential model for a post-capitalist world. These and other examples provide a vision of a world beyond capitalism, where technology is used not to concentrate wealth, but to free people from labor and scarcity. But it's important to remember that these are imaginative portrayals, and while useful, the transition from our current capitalist system to a post-capitalist one is likely going to be complex and challenging. However, it's through these visions that we can begin to consider what might be possible. When considering the transition from late-stage capitalism to post-capitalism, one policy proposal stands out as a potentially powerful tool: Universal Basic Income, or UBI. Simply put, UBI is a regular, no-strings-attached payment to all individuals designed to cover their basic needs. You've probably heard of UBI before, as it's not a new idea, but its significance is being reevaluated as we grapple with the challenges of economic inequality and the disruptions of automation and artificial intelligence in late-stage capitalism. Several countries and cities have experimented with UBI, exploring its potential to alleviate poverty and prepare society for a future where traditional work may not always be guaranteed. In Finland, for instance, a 2-year UBI trial resulted in improved well-being and confidence among participants without reducing their motivation to work. UBI could play a significant role in the transition to a post-capitalist society. By providing a safety net for all, it could help us navigate the disruptions caused by automation and the phasing out of certain industries. Moreover, UBI could empower people to contribute to society in meaningful ways that aren't necessarily recognized in our current market-driven system, such as caring for family members, volunteering, or creating art. While implementing UBI on a larger scale presents its own set of challenges, including funding and potential inflation, it's an example of the innovative thinking that we need as we consider how to transition to a post-capitalist society. And I want to highlight that point. I feel like UBI isn't the solution to capitalism, but a transitional tool on the journey towards a post-capitalist society. With UBI and other potentially progressive policies like worker-owned cooperatives, public ownership of utilities, a tax on automation, a job guarantee program, and so much more, we can start to build a future where the economy serves all of us, not just a select few. As we've seen, the end of capitalism doesn't have to be a dystopian vision. Instead, it could be the beginning of a new chapter, one marked by greater equality, sustainability, and collective well-being. But how do we really get there from here? We would have to figure out how to really implement some of the technologies that are starting to show promise, such as renewable energy, automation, robotics, and artificial intelligence, to take over the burden of resource extraction, converting resources into usable material, building products, distributing those products, recycling old products, and servicing the public. It might be as simple as just going onto an Amazon-style website, selecting the things that you need, and the transaction would be complete, with no money being spent. Items would arrive via automated transport. At first, I think there would be an excess of greed and resource hoarding. But over time, as a culture, we could work to reduce that and find some new even keel where, because of the value of goods being basically zero, that we don't make ownership of those goods as part of our personal identities and status symbols. I don't know what our personal values will be, or where the billions of us will find meaning in our lives, but it might only be due to a lack of imagination, having been indoctrinated into this capitalist system all my life. The end of capitalism could be the beginning of a new era, an era where prosperity is defined not by material wealth, by the average well-being of all. Let's imagine and work towards that hopeful future together. Until next time, thank you for watching Future Unfolded, and keep imagining, keep questioning, and keep striving for change. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments down below, and I'll do my best to respond.